So curling, our favorite Winter Olympics game.
Yeah.
What a strange thing. No, Tim, thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me, Derek.
Great to have you. You've got 23 years now?
23 years in, full time, yeah. So luckily it doesn't feel like it, so you know you're in the right position.
Well, you know, there's a lot of trends in the real estate industry. There's a big recent one. Maybe we'll get to that one. I'm not sure.
Sounds good.
But you know, there's a lot of things that are changing. You have different models. You know, in the past 10 years, things have really changed where everyone is kind of looking online. You know, we do list it live because I think part of the problem with people who are home buyers is also the thing that's good. It's a double-edged sword that all these homes are online, but there's all these homes online. You know, and if you fall in love with a home online, I think a lot of people have disregarded homes that they found online because they didn't fall in love with the pictures.
Yes.
And the homes could have totally worked out for them.
Yeah.
But they're throw it away because I don't love it right here on the computer, so it's not good enough. So that's one thing that I think has been a double-edged sword a little bit, but you don't know that. You just say, well, I can't get into any of the houses I want. Everybody wants them. Because everybody's looking for the same perfect pictures, the same perfect house.
They are, yes.
So there's certain things like that where now it's a lot online. You start to distance yourself from what used to be a very people-oriented process. I mean, when I bought my first house, my agents would come by Monday morning to my office, give me a list of papers.
Yep.
They'd say, hey, take a look at these. Here's the stats. One picture on there. Take a look at the stats. Let us know which ones, and a map. Let us know which ones you want to go see this weekend.
Leave a message on my answering machine. I'll come pick you up.
Fax them to us. And, you know, and this is, you know, early 2000s, right around 2000. And so it was you very much needed your real estate agent. You very much needed a person to talk to about all the things that were going on. And now with so much information online, I feel like it's easy to get away from that. Or it's easy to think that you should get away from that if you're a buyer. And unfortunately, I think for a lot of agents too, the thought is, well, the buyers can find it online. I just tell them to go look and see what they can find. And, you know, when they find something, they'll let me know. So I feel like there's a distance that's being created there that I know you personally are unwilling to let that distance be created. So I think that's the place I'd like to start the conversation.
Sounds great.
What you do and how you're saying no to that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and kind of for me, I got in 1995. I came right out of financial services, working at Morgan Stanley and T. Rowe Price for 3 years out of college, and you know, the cell phone was just coming about. The MLS was a computer that you registered for time in the office. I was the guy dropping off the little booklet or the papers that we assembled for you to look at. So for me, it's been really interesting and really cool to work in a time period where there's been so much advancement and change. It's made me have to adapt to certain things, but also understand the root of what we're doing. This is people's cave. This is where they come home to. It's where they celebrate holidays, they eat, they rest. It's where you come home to every day. It's where all your personal belongings are. So, you know, from an emotional standpoint, residential real estate has always been more of an intimate process. And although you can find the doorknob now online, there are a lot of different facets within the transaction that still require experience, guidance, and hand-holding. And that takes time. It takes a personal investment from a real estate broker standpoint. And even looking at homes, I'm always thinking ahead of time, Derek's looking at this house. What is my hindrance going to be in 10 years if he comes to me and says, list this home, we just found the perfect place along the beach. And now he's enamored with this ocean view home that's the next cat's meow. And I can't sell the house that I sold him 10 years ago. And he's going, what's the problem? Well, you got this traffic out front, these power lines. You've got, you know, this hindrance, the airplane noise. Well, why didn't you tell me this, Tim, when you sold it to me? Well, we were just trying to get 4 deals that month, get our numbers. Well, that's not taking care of me personally. So being able to tell somebody as much why they should buy a home when you're out touring properties, and also being able to tell them why they shouldn't possibly be so emotionally attached and involved early, I think really sets people up for long-term, using a little bit of planning and using that experience to help people understand, you know, it's a home, but also from an investment standpoint, where are they going to be 5, 10 years, 15 years down the line?
There's a lot to it.
A lot to it.
There's a tremendous amount to it. And you know, that's one of the things that I think is unique. I just kind of, not to brag about my brands completely here, but when I come back to List It Live,
Yeah.
you know, I want people to be able to hear from the agent, because when you look at the properties online, that's great. You can see the pictures, but you need to know the story. And people want to know the story, even if they say they don't. Wouldn't you rather know the story? What, you know, how much money did they put into this kitchen? How much did they care about this place?
Right.
The solar is paid for. Wow, that's good to know. Explain more.
Yeah.
You know, just looking at the numbers is not enough sometimes. So I feel like with, you know, the things that I'm trying to do in real estate are a lot of the things that you're trying to do.
Yes.
When this listing is another example where I've seen what happens and what can happen if you get poor representation, and it's a disaster. And that's not. No one should have to go through that.
No.
It doesn't have to happen.
Yeah.
But it continues to happen over and over and over and over again. I've told you about a couple of the extreme examples that we've seen through the show, and that's really sad stuff, man. So like, I wanted to at least say, you know what, let's do a little bit of the upfront heavy lifting for you. Let's go find you 3 agents that we feel are competent, know what they're doing, and aren't what we would call a pass-off, which is another trend that's in real estate. So where a lot of the agents who tout themselves in the neighborhood, I'm number 1 in the neighborhood, I'm number 1 in this area, I sold the most homes in this neighborhood, and homeowners don't know, they don't understand what's going on. They say, hey, he sold the most homes, people around here must trust him the most, so let me use that person.
Yeah.
A lot of times in those cases, those are people who they're definitely running, you know, their business like a business, and they're saying, all right, I want to get the most amount of transactions, and so in order to do that, this is how I have to set up my team. But you talk to them once, and then you get handed off to someone else.
Right.
And that's how a lot of those situations work. A tremendous disservice. So when homeowners ask me, when they're being cast on the show, hey, I know this guy does a lot of business around here. At least I got this postcard. I get it every month, says he's number 1.
Right.
Are we going to put him on the show? No, we're not. We're not going to, and here's why. And I explain it to them. They say, okay, well, that makes sense. But if I don't explain it to them, the marketing will work. Because they'll think that there's a trust there, and that's why that person is doing that business. So that the handoff and the big team setup is a big trend, and a lot of people seem to be pushing in that direction. I just don't see that there's a real big advantage to it.
No, I mean, I think there is for you know, for agents to have that are part-time, certainly to latch on to somebody that has an experience track record, that is doing the marketing. When you can slip in there and be at different levels of experience, different levels of commitment, and different levels of expertise, but overall give the general public the image that you're bigger than maybe what you are, I think that's where that's, you know, a real advantage to some people. And then certainly for the team leads, you know, to be able to take a piece of their transactions for them folks that are underneath them, and be able to hopefully open up more of a balanced lifestyle, which everybody's in search of. I think that's why that's an attractive model. But you know, everybody cares about their trade. I mean, it's just like surgeons done X amount of surgeries. Well, this is my surgery. It's great that you've done this many. I want to get this one right because it's me. This is a big step. It's their biggest investment for most people. And I think society has us so geared to be faster. Everything's got to be fast. Negotiating patiently, evaluating homes patiently, doing secondary inspections, not just brushing over. We had it looked at, there's some minor issues, oh well. When you can dig a little deeper and be patient with what you're doing and reassure people that they're getting what they think they're getting at the cost that they're paying, I think there's a lot of value in that. So
being patient and committed makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
By the way, we are live right now on Facebook, so if you have a comment, you'd like to jump in and join the conversation, or if you want to tell me that you like my hair, or whatever it is, I did just get lined up, so you just let me know if you have questions for Tim. Tim's here too. I see Scott Ryan. What's up, Scotty? He says he is spot on. Too many agents have commission breath and don't look out for the client's best interest. It's
thanks, Scott.
It is one of those things that is an inherent conflict it's built into the money side of any commission-based industry. There's an inherent conflict of interest, because if I buy a house, a commission is made. If I don't buy a house, a commission is not made. So what it requires is, it requires someone who stands on a very high moral ground, who isn't going to succumb to what is going to be the natural tendency, which is that, you know, compensation drives behavior. And if I get compensated for doing X and not compensated for doing Y, then I'm going to tend to do X. So this is the reason why the agent selection process is so important. The reason why we started the Win This Listing program. The reason why I look forward to having you involved in it.
Thank you.
Because I know that if we put the right people in front of a homeowner and give them a chance where they can't make a mistake with who they choose, they'll have a good experience. And they may give credit to the show for that, and that's fine. But it doesn't matter. If they have a good experience, then everything's fine. However, if you go out there and throw a dart at it, if you go out there and go to the Yellow Pages, if you go out there and go to Zillow and just pull it up, you're flapping in the wind, man. You're unprotected. You're out in the middle of the field, and I can't help you there.
Yeah. Well, it's about building a pipeline. I mean, high school's very regimented. People go to college, and there's all this free time. So it's a matter of how you start to, as an adult in the workforce, manage your job. This job has a lot of free time that you need to fill with doing the right things. And it does take a lot of discipline. So I think, you know, you're able to make the right recommendations to people, and that trust will grow, and those people will stay with you if you are telling them today's not the right time, but a year or two from now, financially or where the market's going to be, is going to be the right time. Stay with me. They tell two people, hey, I was given the right advice. He could have made a quick dollar, but he didn't. A new person comes to open house. You know, there's situations where you have, you know, you show them one house and they buy it, you're done. You've got other situations where it's a 2-year, 3-year nurturing and coddling a relationship to help them to make sure it's the right time. So it takes a lot of patience. And again, you're building that pipeline. It's not a matter of maximizing profit with the least amount of people. It's spreading that blanket and giving the right advice, and then building that reputation in the community to be the go-to person that's providing the right advice at the right time.
And the one thing that I heard consistently from homeowners because a lot of times homeowners will reach out to us that have had bad experiences. So the number one thing that I've heard from homeowners who I would classify as having had bad experiences was that they didn't feel like their agent listened to them. They didn't feel like they were actually hearing the things that they were saying were important to them.
Yeah.
And I think that is a direct result of the inherent conflict in the industry. And that inherent conflict is that, well, whatever you're saying is fine, but I need to sell you a house. Now, you can better serve someone, you can better sell someone a house if you listen to them.
Right.
But so many times, that was a big thing for homeowners who were saying, you know, I feel like these agents don't listen to me. I'm telling them I want a house that's west of the 5, and they're showing me houses east of the 5, or whatever it is. They're not listening to me. So I think what you're saying is, hey, listen, have some patience, be committed. Right?
Yeah.
Be committed to your client, be committed to the process, and be patient, meaning listen, look around, see what's going on, see what's important.
Christina,
soak it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but Christine and I, we set up an appointment with our buyers just like a listing appointment. So we meet with them. We don't just get in the car and let's run around the county and figure out what might work. Where we sit down and gather facts, ask questions, and then probe and say, hey, what you're looking for west of the 5 at this price point with this size doesn't exist. So where is the level of compromise? Is it going to be smaller place that fits your parameters, or is it going to be going east of the 5? Give me permission, your permission, and understand that you're guiding the ship, and we're helping. You have control of what's going on, but we're asking the right questions to help them discern what path they should be taking to find the right place. Not just pushing on them that, just look at this place. You know, here, this is shoving it at them. This has got to be the right one. Make it happen. Let's get it going here.
Yeah, this is as good as
this
it's
is
going
good
to
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing that you can learn from, I think, the Property Brothers show.
Yes.
Is they do a really good job. So they'll take the couple to a house that has everything they want.
Right.
And they'll say, isn't this great? Isn't this amazing? And they show them and they're like, oh man, this house is awesome. Wow, this is incredible. And they're like, all right, it's 1.6 million.
Right.
Your budget's 800,000.
Right.
So we just wanted you to see what a house that has everything that you want looks like,
right,
and also what it costs.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really good lesson to learn, because the best way to learn about what's available in the marketplace is to go see it.
Yeah.
I mean, the absolute best way to learn the market is to go walk into houses. And then all of a sudden you walk into one and you're like, wow, this is a really good one. What's the price? And someone tells you and you go, oh, oh,
yeah,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, okay. When you don't have to think about it, when you don't have to get out the spreadsheet, when you don't have to like,
right,
and then you just, you know,
mm-hmm,
that's when you found one. But there's only one way to do that. You got to walk into, you got to kiss some frogs.
Yeah, and that's where knowing your inventory in that area and being able to, you know, once we have that initial appointment with a buyer, go to the drawing board with the MLS and the other tools that we have to say, hey, Derek, here's a few that are a little more expensive. Look at the parameters in this area. Look at why we're not taking you to tour these houses, but at least they're here. And then create another separate search that's right down the alley of where the price point is, where the parameters are, and help them to discern without spending a lot of time, to be conscientious of their time. You're able to do kind of what the show does,
right?
To say, here, you're looking at everything in the marketplace.
Because you don't want them to see a house and go, Tim, why don't you show me this house? Well, it's out of your price range.
Yeah, you don't make them feel bad.
Or it doesn't have, you know, an extra bedroom that you wanted.
Right.
Well, we could live with it if we did. Well,
yeah.
You know, that's the hard part, because people don't know what they don't know. And I think the thing that's crazy about the parameters that everyone's using is that they put in their ideal parameters, and sometimes you'll miss stuff.
Yes.
You'll miss that 3-bedroom with the den,
mm-hmm,
which would have worked for you, because you were just going to have an office anyway in the 4th bedroom.
Right.
You're going to miss that one,
because
you put in 4 bedrooms. And so, again, that's the double-edged sword, I think, of all the online stuff that's going on, and where you're missing out on really tapping into someone who knows the market, who's been in these houses, and who's keeping an eye on them,
right,
who's walking and doing the caravans and all that stuff.
And that's one of the questions. You know, they say, hey, we need a 3-bedroom. Well, could you deal with a 2-bedroom that had a loft or an area that you could use as a flex room for an office or a TV area or homework area for the kids? Yeah, I could use that because I'm going to use one of the bedrooms that way anyway. Great, then why don't I set the minimum parameters at 2 instead of 3 bedrooms? Let's pick up more. It's not going to hurt anything.
That's right.
And then when you tap it, I can call the agent, find out more information about what the setup is, what's going on with the home, give you a lot of information like we talked about before, have a warm tour rather than walk in and say, we know nothing and we're fingers crossed hoping this works.
So one of the things I like about your videos too is there are a lot of people doing videos, and video is a big thing in real estate right now. We are live on Facebook, by the way. If you want to say hi, drop us a comment, say what's up. We would love to hear from you, as we are live right now with Tim Skoglin. So, you know, the thing that I like about the videos you're doing too is that you're narrating these, giving people insights on the property. One of the things that I really expect from a listing agent, I expect a listing agent to know the property inside and out.
Yes.
Know it as good as anyone else on the planet knows the property.
Yeah.
And to be able to provide some insights.
Don't be a facilitator. Go out there and do the research. And, you know, for me, when I first jumped in front of a camera, I did a little video for Stonecrest Village, which is a neighborhood Christine and I have done a lot of work in. And it takes some work. You think it's easy. They flip a camera on in your face, and it's just you staying on the street corner talking about the neighborhood. It's a little bit of an awkward feeling at first. So like anything, it takes some getting used to. But, you know, we should be the authoritarian figure on the market, our farms, our areas that we're working on, and you should be able to get out there and walk somebody through a home on video, provide a real virtual tour, not pictures to music.
Not pictures that slide to music, not those.
And do the fancy little.
Just kind of zoom in and out.
And say, hey, here's 4 key points to the house. There's plenty more. Come see us. Take a tour. I think that's a lot. We've found that we've done better with the homes where we've done those types of videos in correlation with our other marketing. We've been able to achieve higher prices, more offers, and garner more attention using that type of video. where you've got some music, you've got some different angles with drone video and so forth to really showcase the property.
Yeah,
so,
walk people through what the reality of the features are. I mean, it's one thing to say, hey, you have, a breakfast nook with a view. Okay, cool. But how does that actually? What's the benefit to that? How does that work with the flow of the house? Why wouldn't that just be part of the dining room, or something like that instead? So there's a lot of things when you get down, especially San Diego. One of the things that's really cool about the houses in San Diego, you get to see a lot of different setups, man.
Yes.
This isn't one of those, suburbs where, they built 1 million homes at a time.
No.
A lot of these developments were dozen homes, 24 homes at a time, If there's one that's 300 or 400, that's a ton.
Yep.
As we hear the sounds of freedom flying above. Thank you, fellas and ladies.
No, you're right. We got
lots
homes,
of cool stuff.
Hey, you have homes in North Park built in 1920s. You've got newer stuff up in North County. You have coastal properties that have been remodeled and contemporary gems along the coast. So yes, we have all different styles and a real nice eclectic conglomeration of different feels and styles.
I love the 50s style homes.
I do too.
That have the extra little layer. It's just like a couple steps down and the whole extra living space.
Yeah, sunken fireplace in there.
Yeah.
It's just,
That's my favorite, man.
It's good. As long as you don't walk through at night and catch the step at the wrong time. End up on top of your coffee table. So, but that even A-frames, the windows up in the A-frame and all the light that comes in with some of those great rooms, those family rooms that have that type of setup. I think you'll start to see, I hope you'll start to see as we reconstruct San Diego, now that we've run out of places to build new homes, as primary resident folks remodel their homes, as fix and flippers go in, as the market ebbs and flows, hope it gives them the cushion to be able to do some of those interesting architectural features when they redo homes in here.
I know one of the things that's been a lot of the homes that are being redone is they're really opening stuff up.
Yes.
Knocking a lot of walls
For
down.
sure.
Vaulting ceilings out.
Compartmentalization's out.
Yeah.
Mom and grandma in the kitchen cooking Thanksgiving dinner while we're out watching football and having fun in a room that's
no one wants that
done.
anymore.
Yeah, we want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Also helps us to remember to help with the dishes.
And clean up while it's happening.
While it's happening,
yeah,
right.
Don't wait.
Be part of it. Yeah.
So a lot of that is I love that. I think it's great. I love the openness. I love the vaulted ceilings.
I agree.
It's an easy way to add value to a property. A lot of people also, a lot of sellers now, they really need to do 40, 50,000 if they want to maximize their sale, because a lot of people have a lot of equity right now.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have a lot of equity. If you want to get to the top of the market, I think most buyers, this is just my opinion, but most buyers still want that turnkey deal. They're willing to pay top market, but they want to get a dialed home if they're going to pay top market.
Yeah, it's. I don't think people understand what it takes to build a home. I mean, you always have people that say, if we could get a piece of land, we'd build. Well, that's a pretty big undertaking. So I've seen people marriages hang on a thread, relationships hang on a thread, going through a 19-month process of the wrong lights showing up and contractors letting go, subs not showing up, all these things. It's a conveyor belt, so it's a domino effect. When one person doesn't pull their weight, you get delayed and all expectations go out the window. But it's. I hope that more people invest the time in doing things that are unique and expressive and bring some of these architectural styles and things that we've talked about back.
I think one of the things we've got that's the greatest protection that we have. Hey, what's up, Don? Great taste. Said mid-century is terrific. 100% agree with you, Don. I love the mid-century stuff.
Yes.
Love the 50s, even the 60s stuff. Love it.
Yep.
I think one of the best protections that we have right now, or one of the best shields we've got for the real estate market as far as values are concerned, is cost to construct. I mean, that is definitely, the next best shield we have is rents being so high and going nowhere but higher. But I think because the cost to construct is so high, a lot of these homes, we had one on Listed Live today that was under $200 a square foot, big house. And I'm going, I don't know how you'd build a house for that at this point in time.
Yeah, Legos
maybe? Lincoln Logs. So if you can't construct something for that, but you can buy it for that.
Yeah.
Isn't that a no-brainer?
Mm-hmm.
That's a no-brainer. If I can buy this laptop for $1,000, but you can't make it for under $1,500,
Right.
that's a good buy.
Yeah.
Right.
Go for it.
So that's kind of what I'm seeing as
Yes.
a real big piece of optimism that's underlying this
Mm-hmm.
market that feels like it's so inflated and out of control for a lot of buyers who are just watching prices go up and have been for a couple years.
Yeah.
Is that, man, we have some major protection, macro protection underneath this thing. In fact, things that are, I would call like tips, like inside knowledge about this thing's going higher, man. Listen, anything that's being built, and you're seeing this, they're not building houses, new houses that are in the 500s or 600s. Like, that's gone.
Yeah.
The new stuff is all starting in the 7s.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts.
I know.
They have no choice because cost to construct is just through the roof.
It is.
Downtown, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing anything that was built in downtown in the last 10 years, pretty much, is rentals now, or anything that's going to be built now is going to be $1,000 a foot.
Yeah. And you look at the fragility of the marketplace with the fires that we had up in Northern California, the floods we had out in Texas. When we have those natural disasters hit the country, that lumber, that concrete, even the subcontractors, they can flood to these areas and be paid top dollar because they're in such high demand, rather than help with our onesie-twosie remodel in San Diego. So that's another thing that really drives those prices up. So I agree with you.
Yeah, the construction is a big deal.
Yeah.
The downtown stuff is actually very interesting. I don't know how much you look at the downtown market, but...
It's where I started. So I worked with Jonathan Siegel doing his live work lofts. I did the sales and financing for a bit with him. So I was down there when there was about 4 of us down there.
Yeah.
And everybody thought you needed a switchblade or a pistol to get out of there alive. But no, I do follow it. We still have a good nucleus of clients that are down there. And yeah, I think it's very interesting. Also, you look at the technology around, Google cars and some of these things happening. I think an environment like our urban setup in downtown San Diego becomes even more attractive over the next 5 to 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I have an 11-year-old, so for me, like school districts is paramount.
Yes.
So I'm in Del Mar, you know. But if school district wasn't a concern for me, I would be living in downtown for sure.
yeah, just the energy level,
sure.
the walkability.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Plus,
and
you can
sense of
buy.
community.
Yeah, there's places you can buy down there right now, $500 a foot.
Yep.
$450, $500, $550 a foot. I'm telling you that there's no way they're going to be able to build anything down there for less than $1,000 anymore, ever again.
You're right.
So I feel like the upside is baked in the cake. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's coming. Like
Yeah.
those places are not gonna. You're not gonna be able to get, like, you can get 1 bedrooms and some of the smaller lofts down there, even still in the 3s.
Yeah.
Like M2Y. Like, that's
Yes.
like central. So East Village now is a really big area where, like, the west side of East Village is. I'm calling it Central Village or Ballpark Village. That's what
Yes.
I'm just calling it now because someone needs to rename that stuff. Because if 17th is
Yes.
East Village, then 10th can't be East Village.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny how it's kind of moved as the gas lamp has moved. I even worked with Wayne Buss, who used to own the Carnation Milk Processing Plant.
Really?
That was out there on 11th, 10th.
Yeah.
They had a little area that the Pony Express, when they used to pass through San Diego, they actually had the old stables where the horses were kept, and the writing on the walls was still
crazy.
set up for where the mail distribution was sorted. So we had a couple places that we worked with him. We tried to sell them, but nobody wanted to go that far out in 95, 96, 97. And we rented them to some, forward-thinking folks that needed an art studio or needed some kind of a production area that had a higher ceiling and was more of a unique space.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been funny how it's just continued to move out to where people will park to go into the gas lamp, or where they'll walk from.
Yeah.
So it's been great to see the expansion.
And Barrio is also, I don't know
Great.
the last time you were down there,
Yes.
but you wouldn't
Huge
recognize
changes.
it. I
Yeah.
mean, just you drive like, what?
Yeah.
Where am I again?
Yeah.
This is not what I remember.
No.
So there's a lot of things going on over there, and I think it's hard to find value to that extent in most places. But if you go and you look, and you say, all right, well, what's the cost to construct? Something I've always thought was interesting about appraisals Although I don't feel like they're super accurate on appraisals, like the cost approach.
Yes.
But it should be the most important thing that you use to evaluate the freaking house.
Sure.
Is how much would it cost me to build this house?
Yeah.
From scratch.
It's funny when you see it with insurance, you see what the reconstruction cost is, and
Yeah.
you see where the house is. I've always thought that was a funny dichotomy within the.
Yeah, and it should tell you whether or not you've got a good deal.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it costs $1 million to rebuild this place, including the cost of the lot, we got to get the ground too.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I'm buying it for $800,000.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah. That should be an easy one.
Yeah, because that's today money. Everything
Right.
should be today oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be really representative of the value.
I agree.
And when you look at that and some of the stuff in downtown, man, there's just opportunity all over the place.
Yeah. And the views. When you go up to Sherman Heights, I always think it's cool, and from Coronado, how downtown looks. From Sherman Heights, looking down the other way, how things change. From Balboa, you go up to play Balboa Golf Course,
Yeah.
and look at downtown across that way. You have some great views from those areas. Some old Victorian homes that have a lot of class and style. So we have a lot of nice, interesting, good pockets within the county that I think people don't often take time to explore.
It's so big.
Or give a chance to.
There's so many options.
I agree.
Like, think about this. If you had $1 million, let's say $1 million in a duffel bag, you had to buy real estate with it. Think about all the options you would have in San Diego County.
That's a good thought. I've never,
I mean, just think about wow, okay, should I go waterfront in Oceanside? Should I
Right.
just think about so many, should I go Mount Helix and buy a mansion?
Yeah.
With views and a sick pool? You could do so much. You can even that's the get in at Stonebridge.
Right.
You could buy a house in Stonebridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you could do. You could get a place in Carmel Valley for $1 million. You could buy a place in Del Mar for $1 million. It's vast. And for a lot of buyers, now that's a pretty normal number to talk about.
Yeah.
700, 800, 900 million. You get there pretty fast these days.
Yes.
So, man, options are just all over the place when it comes to San Diego County. Let's see. I'm getting the I'm getting the question mark from Carrie. She's giving me the question mark. Tim and Christine Skoglin are fantastic, incredibly professional. From Chase Peckham. What's up, Chase? Appreciate the kind words.
Thank you, Chase.
Chase with the San Diego Financial Literacy Center. Good
Yep.
buddy of mine. Jason Cash says, Tim, I'm remodeling my condo in Golden Hill. The bulk of my budget is in the kitchen and bathroom. Smart move.
Great place to start. Yeah. I mean, that's where your people are going to spend the majority of their time. And, a little paint and all the other extraneous things can come after the fact. Molding and speakers and things that people just want to make the home more custom. But, I would definitely start kitchens, baths, and then, is the flooring okay, paint. That's where you're going to get your bang for your buck. Windows eventually might be a good thing just from an energy conservation standpoint, but those might be things that you can budget for later in the future.
Yeah.
So, but thanks, Jason.
Okay, good question, Jason. Appreciate you chiming in. We are live on Facebook right now, so if you want to drop us a comment, you could just say, hi, what's up, if you wanted to. Nice tie, Derek, or whatever it is that's on your mind. So we were talking about video, your hands-on approach.
Yes.
Trends in the industry, what's going on, valuable places where I think people can still find great deals, including downtown and surrounding areas where I feel like, man, there's just what you can buy something for versus what it costs to create it is just so much lower. How do you feel about just the market in general right here at this point? I mean, I've kind of laid out my thoughts on it. I feel like we're in one of those strong positions where we may not go skyrocketing higher, but we've got so much support underneath the spot that we're at.
Yeah.
I don't see really much other options.
I mean, what I do know is that I used to be able to get on the freeways, grab some signatures, open up a few doors, deal what I had to deal with on a daily basis, be back to the office by 3:30 or so, unscathed. And now, if I get out there at 1:30, we've got a whole lot of people either are lost and are in the wrong area, unemployed, or I don't know what the story is, but you just look at the numbers and how the population growth has taken place here in San Diego, and I think at 1:30, what are all these people doing on the freeway? they can't all be in sales.
Yeah.
So, so I think that right there helps to, supply and demand. It's just simple economics. I think it keeps pressure on our rental market, even with some of the tax changes from an investment standpoint, being able to offset some of the changes in the tax write-offs with a little higher rent and demand on the rental market. We are starting to see it sputter a little bit, though. I'm seeing, some escrow fallout. I'm seeing people that I think try to beat out the other offer or are quick to pull the trigger, tie the property up. Appraisal comes in, home inspection goes pretty well, but then everybody's talking, you're paying what for what? And they say, well, maybe I need a credit towards carpet, or maybe I need some cosmetic repair. So we're just starting to see the underlying telltale signs of a little bit of, hitting an economic threshold.
A little fragility there.
Yeah, a little bit of consumer confidence being tested. But all in all, I think that certainly 2018 is pretty flat, maybe a little uptick here and there. And nice properties, people emotionally are going to want them. The rates are still, although they've moved up, very good comparative to historical rates. So I think you're going to see something that's well cared for. Jason finishes his remodel on his house, and if he decides in a couple of years to
Golden Hill,
sell it,
it's going to work.
If it's today's color scheme and neatly kept and presented well, there's going to be profit there, and there are going to be a couple people knocking at the door to purchase it. But we've got good activity at open houses. We're still getting multiple offers in a lot of cases. Not 8, 9 like this time last year, but 2, 3. And they're good offers coming in. It's not like 1 star and 3 or 4 duds. So I think pace is very good. So
and this is what we would consider to be kind of the slow time of the year.
Yeah, we kind of start kicking in. I always tell people kind of the weekend after Super Bowl Sunday, I kind of feel like people have been around family and we get back to building relationships and it all not being AI and phones and computers. You're around granddad or your uncle or someone that says, hey, Tim, you've been renting. What are you paying to rent downtown? I say, oh, Grandpa, I've got this great place for $3,100 a month. And he darn near falls over and says, what are you paying somebody $3,100 a month for in rent? And I think as we start to work our way through January, getting organized and getting away from holidays and back on a normal schedule, February kind of signifies the ramp up in our market in San Diego. Just because our spring arrives earlier, it really never left this year since it's been 85 practically every day in December and January, February anyway. But we start to kind of ramp up a little bit, and we see a lot of activity from about mid-February to May or so. And then it's a crapshoot from there for June, July, and August. In good economic times, I think people travel more. You talk to people, they take 2 or 3 vacations rather than 1 because there's more discretionary income there. In tighter times economically, they take 1 vacation but are more attentive and in town. So we see more attention to the real estate market. And then we kind of work our way through the wave where September they're back in school, October, November kind of set up okay, and then we slide into the holiday time period where people travel and kind of wind down the year, and December, January a little slower.
And there's one little interesting piece of the market I'd love to get your input on.
Okay.
This is people who've had their home for a while. So I know some people, I'll just see one guy in an example, who had a house in Poway, has owned it for 20 years.
Right.
His tax basis is so low. If he sold and bought an equivalent home, his payment would be $500 higher a month just on taxes. So there's a little bit of boxing in on some of the homeowners that we have. Some of them it's because of price. Their home's gone up in value, but so have the ones that they'd be moving into, and so they feel kind of boxed in. Yeah. People who've been kind of boxed in by a tax basis. Do you think that is a big enough contributor to our inventory issue that it's affecting the marketplace?
I think that segment of the market, and even the segment of the market that purchased, in the last 6-7 years, where they've got a 3.25% interest rate, a low payment. Yes, it's enticing to go to a new home or something that's been remodeled, but now they're going to be, 4.75% to 4.5, higher payment. Taking that leap is a little bit difficult. But to get back to the segment that you're talking about, your friend in Poway, we're seeing a lot of those types of folks look for a single story, or even, I've been referring out the people that do the chairlifts, or even elevators, small elevators in homes that we've been putting in to circumvent the two-story issue. But get those folks going into another home that's smaller, more manageable, smaller yard space, and then taking that money if they have children to even help them get on board now, given what the market's been doing and what it's certainly forecasted to do. If we have a correction, I don't think it's going to be long-lived. It might be a year or two, and then I think we come roaring back for the reasons that we just spoke about a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But to help their children get on board now with where rates are and understand if they can get their foot in the door, what that's going to do for them long term, rather than waiting for, receiving an inheritance or something when they pass. That's been a big part of what we've been doing, is taking them out of the home they raised the children in, they lived in for 20, 30 years, moving down instead of buying a comparable home, getting to something smaller, manageable, lets them travel, be with the kids, do things more easily, and then help to purchase another property or two to get the rest of the family situated. That's been a big trend of what we've seen.
Awesome.
So,
yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So in that way you can offset the financial issue of going into this during retirement years on fixed income and worrying about, inflating their monthly outtakes. So
yeah, awesome stuff.
yeah.
Tremendous. Well, this has been great.
Yeah.
Tim, thanks for coming on, man. It's
Thanks
great
for
to
having
speak
me.
with you.
Yeah, you too.
Always is. I mean, it's very insightful. I love the way you do business.
Thank you.
It's really appreciated. We need agents like you in the marketplace so that people can get the service that they deserve.
Thank you.
Of course, share this video because you like your friends on Facebook and you want them to be smarter than everyone else, and that's exactly what will happen if they watch this, and you know it. So please share this video right now. Thanks for watching.